You have to sit back and realize how much RAM you actually need. There's physical memory, and then there's kernel memory. Physical memory is the amount of memory that you have actually installed on your system. Kernel memory is the amount of memory that your system actually requires. You need to determine the need for RAM for system software, productivity software, entertainment software, and graphic programs. The higher end stuff you do, the more RAM you need. Windows Vista requires 512 megabytes of RAM immediately. So right to start off the bat, you should have at least 1 gigabyte of RAM in your computer, because once you open up Microsoft Office Pro with Windows Vista, you're already over 700 megabytes of RAM needed. Internet Explorer needs 128 megabytes of RAM. When you add up all of these different softwares, you realize you need 1.28 gigabytes of RAM. So a system that has 1.5 gigabytes of RAM or a system that has 2 gigabytes of RAM would be an adequate system to be using right here. When your computer does not have enough random access memory to access, it taps into what is known as virtual memory. Virtual memory can actually cause your system to become a memory-bound system. What virtual memory is, or it imitates RAM on your hard drive. The problem with this is it slows down your computer immensely. RAM is an electrical circuit that is connected directly to the motherboard. It travels very, very fast to the processor, as opposed to your hard drive, which is not directly connected to your motherboard. It has to be directed through a cord called a SATA cord. This is not a fast process. Plus, it is not just a purely electrical based system. You have to spin the disks, which are your hard drive disks. Those disks have to be read, and then it has to be sent through a wire to the processor. You can see it's a much longer task than using random access memory. To solve this problem, generally the best bet is to upgrade your RAM. When adding RAM, it will increase your system's performance. This is very important. If your computer is running slow, the first thing you need to check is the amount of RAM that is in the computer. If you think it's not enough, you need to upgrade it, because chances are adding RAM will fix your problem. If not, you might want to check and make sure that you don't have a spyware or a virus infection on your computer. These are the two biggest problems in slowing down computers. Things to consider, though, before adding the RAM is the type of RAM module you need. Remember, there's several different types of RAM. There's dual inline memory modules, and then there's SRAM, DDR-RAM, and DDR2 RAM. Please again check with your manufacturer to find out exactly what type of RAM your computer needs. Also, a lot of times the operating system will not allow you to have more than a specific amount of RAM. I believe Windows XP only lets you have 4 gigabytes of RAM, and I also believe Windows Vista only lets you have 4 to 8 gigabytes of RAM. There's also only a certain number of slots inside of your computer on the motherboard. Some computers come with 2, most nowadays are coming with 4. When evaluating storage, you want to take a look at the different types of storage devices. Your hard drives, your floppy drives, your zip disk drives, your CDs and DVDs, and your flash memory. Remember, storage is non-volatile storage. In other words, what you save on your hard drive will be there until you delete it. It does not disappear when you turn off your computer. The hard disk drive can store up capacities up to 1.5 terabytes. Externals can actually hold up to 2 terabytes now. Access time is measured in milliseconds. The data transfer rate is in megabits or megabits per second. The spindle speed is measured in revolutions per minute or RPMs. When data is saved on these disks, it is done as follows. It's composed of coded platters stacked on a spindle. Data is saved to these disks in a pattern of magnetized spots. A spot would equal a 1. A space would equal a 0. So this is how that binary code works on these disks. Between the platters are read-write heads, as you can see here. These spots are then read and translated into data. Portable storage. These are your jump drives, your floppy disks, your CDs, your flash memory cards, and external portable hard drives. They provide the ability to move data from one computer to another. CDs and DVDs are what is known as optical media. These store data as tiny pits burned into a disc by a laser. It works very similar to the way the magnetized spots work on the hard disk. CD-ROM is a read-only disk. A CDR is a writable disk. A CDRW is a rewritable compact disc. A DVD-ROM, likewise, is just a read-only disc. A DVD-R is a DVD recordable disc, but it can only be written on once. A DVD-RW can be written on several times. There's a newer technology out called Blu-ray discs. These are generally meant for high definition. Blu-ray discs, for the most part, are just readable discs, although they are now making Blu-ray burners, which are initialed BD discs, which can hold up to 50 gigabytes of information. Again, the laser reads the disc. If it sees a pit, it's a 1. If there is no pit, it's a 0. When you're upgrading storage, your hard drive options are to replace the current drive with a larger capacity drive, or you can install an additional hard drive. These are generally known as slave drives. Other options are replace your current CD reading drive with a CD burning drive or a DVD burning drive. Also, you may want to consider buying a flash card reader. This comes in convenient if you take a lot of photos or deal with a lot of digital media. When evaluating video, the two main components you want to consider are the video card and the monitor. Video cards process binary data into images. They contain memory known as video memory. Now, the more memory that is on a video card, generally, the faster and higher quality video it can produce. High quality video cards today generally come with at least 2 ports, possibly 3. These ports are the standard VGA monitor connection. Also, an S-video port that allows you to connect a TV or VCR to your computer, or a DVI, or a digital video interface port. This allows your computer to connect to a digital flat panel monitor. There's also now video cards that have HDMI outputs. When you're looking at your monitors, the things to consider is, are you still working with a cathode ray tube, or have you upgraded to an LCD monitor? LCDs can be very large in size. They go up to 32 to 42 inches. The resolution is very important when considering these monitors. The higher the resolution, the more pixels can be displayed. Dot pitch is the amount of space between each pixel on the screen. The smaller, the better. The refresh rate refers to cathode ray tube monitors for how fast the screen is refreshed with the electronic ions. When looking at buying LCD monitors, things to consider are the aspect ratio. In other words, is it a general standard 3x4 screen, or is it a widescreen 16:9 format? The contrast ratio is extremely important now in LCD monitors. The higher the contrast ratio, the better. If you're dealing with an LCD monitor that has only a few 100-to-1 ratio, in other words, maybe a 200-to-1 ratio, that is a very poor contrast ratio. You want to be having tens of thousands to 1. The brightness is also an issue. Most laptops have really nowadays fixed this problem that the brightness is adequate coming off of it. However, in the past, some laptops did not produce a very bright screen. And then the pixel response rate. This is the refresh rate of a laptop monitor or an LCD screen. And again, does it have a digital video input or a standard VGA input, or does it have an HDMI input in it?